No, I Tony's in charge of everything. Having positions, but
So I'm not going to move it yet.
But he's not around, is he?
and they're all. We did the reunification drill. Had the buses go from the middle school up to high school.
Here, I got the.
But they the Sharon on the line is supposed to like.
I'm not going to disagree. Look, I mean, look, I can't be the person that voted for Clinton. I voted for Bush. I voted for Obama, and I voted for Golden Presidency.
After everything's happened, they're focusing on how are we going to make sure everyone's
I can't be the person that knows who's going to win.
But we don't do anything.
I can't be, but I have for the past 25
But you
years.
hope that most of the time, that's why you're going to do.
It must mean something.
Something that's.
We haven't gotten, there was a very, very basic
Sometimes we need a tech.
presentation about the safety and security.
I do know the first grade.
And it was so general, you couldn't get at it. So our district
It makes us feel better that we can get.
Yeah.
And then finally, like the board was even saying, when are we going to get more detail? And the only thing that administration told them was, well, it's on file in the office if you want to go look for it.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
We
there
still
was
have
no
that.
like
I still have a
in-depth.
pen. Look, it's got a
So
laser.
now they're starting to dig deeper. The different board
I still
members.
got that.
The superintendent's not there to hold the reins on, like she just wouldn't let it go and share things. And so now everyone's
Yeah, I like it
guessing
though.
and we're going to dig into it.
Should be fun.
But we don't do much.
Yeah, and it would be really, I think it would be great for you to kind of let this all sink in and then kind of, you know, maybe have a conversation.
Nirvana.
And share what your thoughts would be.
I will.
What happened to the? I was going to bring my little my little. Yeah, my reusable. And I was looking at it, it's right in my truck outside, and then I forgot to bring it in. But I'll drink it now. The things are still good.
First,
It wasn't. The bottle wasn't refilled. It looks like it was brand new.
you know, I mean, it's one thing, I mean, I don't think. But it's my
Yeah.
informal
No,
conversation
that's a good idea.
about things that we should.
Okay, it does have a couple floating. It's done.
Over wine or beer or. Yeah. Good.
So it'd be nice.
No, that's a good idea.
Very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
One of these years, I'm gonna sneak up on him. I'm gonna put my prom dress on.
Oh, is he really?
Yes.
Okay, well that's okay then. Tom's in there. You should have been in there. You're fired.
Yeah, you know what, though, I go over everything beforehand, so it's not like,
Oh, trust
I'm
me.
just hearing it a second time kind
Yeah.
of thing.
No, I would say that you're the last person I would say that needs to do anything.
But it's so funny, as soon as my son was done, I'm like, oh, we're leaving,
So Faith's graduating Thursday, right?
you don't consider it graduating. When I was
No.
in eighth
Allowing
grade,
them to-
like, it was like, there was the salutatory, I did the speech because I was
Oh,
salutatory.
really? In
Oh,
eighth
yeah,
grade?
it was like a real
Oh.
deal when
Yeah.
I was little. Like,
In 8th grade, I had the honor of having the most detentions out of everybody in my 8th grade class. At Sacred Park.
wow, I actually really like that.
And then when I graduated high school, one of my friends said to me, what are you going to do? Oh, yeah, I'm going to be a teacher. You hate school. You're going to be a teacher? Don't need it. I connect with
I
the
did
ones who
tell.
don't want to be there.
That is awesome. Is that what I'm supposed to be, like student too?
Make a nice
What do you mean?
Like as far as Wi-Fi?
Try not to make it as awful as they
Should I be
think
at
it is.
student
It's
two
not,
or should I
yeah.
be
I don't think it matters if you connect to it. You have a district device.
Oh, it was
that
Catholic
connect
school,
everything.
so everything. Just briefly. Everything. A couple other little, like, a little more serious than that, but all the other things too. You only got one, so that's good. And then you learned your lesson.
Sailing. We're going to sail this year. I think go sailing from
Why was yours so
from Florida to the Bahamas.
this was just a special meeting.
I did.
Yeah.
No, our friends and I rented a 47-foot
Oh, she can grab
a Beneteau
Wasn't
with a sloop.
Usually we share it.
But I have.
What's that? No, it was friends. So we're seven guys, or actually 5 guys, 2
You guys,
young ladies, and
you were here at 5:30. Grab a sandwich.
no, it was just a bunch of like 19 to.
Deb, did you get a sandwich?
No, not yet. Why not?
It is complicated. And when we came back,
They are healthy. There's veggie wraps.
but everybody
I got
had
the veggie
plans
wraps.
from Fort Lauderdale to wherever they were. And I was living, where was it? I was living in New Jersey, but all my friends were living in Vermont. So we made it back. 25, 35-foot seas. My first college class, they made us write a story, and I wrote that story. But it was fun. This would be fun. That's some of the worst seas. Yeah.
What is the Otago one? That's a chicken Caesar. I like that one.
We've had a lot of ships sink. I mean, just big ships. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Block Island. Yeah.
It was very nice. Yes, I did. Way ahead of time.
You told her you were throwing out that jacket last time.
Tony's got the brown shoes. The
What
brown.
weather do you think this is?
The brown shoes. Right? Tony's got the brown shoes tonight. Very
Yeah, he's got the light on.
Yeah.
Stephen must have gone to the Tom Smith School of Dressing. My son for the prom
Is that a good thing?
wore a velvet jacket. He looked sharp as could be. His girlfriend was very happy. I'm like, dude, you're sweating. What are you thinking? What?
That thing.
Mom, but she likes it.
You leave it out there for him or not?
How are you?
Frenemies said it was this.
Who's your Facebook friend of me? Susan, grab a sandwich if you're hungry.
Oh, thank you.
Sarah, you want some food?
I owe you
How was
money.
your first day?
It was good. It was good.
You look great.
Thank you. A little grown up, more than I usually do when I. Let's see. I left the office.
Did you mind your language?
I was on my best behavior, Bob. I don't want to throw him into culture shock yet.
You're good.
I know. I never have. At the morning,
That's great. Thank
I
you.
didn't have to be
Thanks
until
for
9.
reaching
I
out to me
took
about
the 7:19, and then I was in to the office by 9. They're on Park Avenue between 56 and 54. I didn't. I jumped the E train 4 stops,
Yeah, I got
but
it.
I think during the nice weather I probably would do it when I had more time. But
It's on the executive portion of the thing.
What is the
Board members can
trick
see it.
door to door?
We had the same issue because Nani was done
But I gotta have it for the record.
first.
probably about 2 hours each way. Yeah, because I left my house around 7. Got
It's
to
gonna
the
be
next
out.
job, got into Penn Station around 8:30ish. Got the E, so maybe an hour and 45. An hour and 45 or something like that. They do have silent cars. Yeah.
Back in the day, they had
No. Yeah, I know.
You can bring your own.
Yeah, they do. They throw it in the brown bag on Fridays.
They just call you.
I know.
The alcohol that's in your car.
Wow. Sweet.
I know.
Cell phones.
Right?
It,
When you
it's going
actually
great.
talk to other human beings.
Yeah.
did find out today in my orientation that I guess sometimes the management committee
They're in there.
company, like every now and then they'll do, it's called Wine Down Fridays, where they host and have cocktails after work on Fridays at the office. Yeah, Wine Down.
You know who's really an exceptional kid? Ever had a chance to talk to him? It's Will Titus.
I thought that was cute.
He sent out an email. He sent this email out to all the next crop next generation.
Sarah,
He just encouraged them to
I did. I started today.
just
How
to
was it?
continue the tradition. To
Where is it?
anything.
I know you just told all of them, but
But I just thought it was well written. That a kid put his heart and soul into cross country in the district. And track for that matter.
It was amazing. I was excited. Oh my goodness. They did so good. Holy cow.
I tell the kids that they want to eat something. What?
Who were these people?
You guys are hungry? You want to grab something? Feel free.
Thank you, though.
Are you handing the diploma to your son? You're a physician.
No.
What is it?
I would also do Wesley Leonard, except for there's no spot.
No.
She's sort of a relative. Just started doing it? Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Does it hurt when you do that?
Today?
now it's 30
I woke up yesterday.
So it's 2-second walk from her destination.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one.
What'd you do?
Very easy.
Nothing. I don't know. I didn't really do anything.
Like cartilage between the bones that's like kind of at a place. Like sometimes the
You don't know that one.
We'll just go back.
Whenever I have a weird thing like that, I go to her.
Chiropractor. You know what?
Chiropractor can realign whenever I got going on. I'm Naomi now.
It'll just pop. Back.
Can't get out of here. You'll be back in. Look at all these, you know, you're giving me the
I wish I could do whatever.
for another 3 years.
to call this meeting to order. Monday, June 17th. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Hopewell Valley Regional Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof communicated to the Hopewell Valley News, the Times, and Trentonian on January 8th, 2019. This meeting notice was also sent to Comcast Cable and Verizon Fios. The board reserves the right to enter into executive session during all meetings of the Board of Education. The meeting is being videotaped for the purpose of board review, future reference, preparation of the minutes, and viewing on Comcast Channel 19, Verizon Fios Channel 32, and the school district website, www.hvrsd.org. May I have a roll call, please, Mr. Colavita?
Mr. DiDonato,
Present.
Ms. Linthorst,
Here.
Ms. Long,
Here.
Mr. Markulek,
Here.
Ms. Murray,
Here.
Ms. O'Reilly,
Here.
Ms. Polara,
Here.
Ms. Tracy.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will you rise for the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, great. I knew where it belonged. Okay, may I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of May 6th, 2019, the work session, May 13th, 2019, special meeting, May 20th, our regular meeting. Motion,
moved.
please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Motion carries. Dr. Smith?
Yes.
Start with your special presentation of this evening.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Mr. Chris Fossil to come to the podium, but as he's doing that, I will say that you will probably recognize a few of the faces that we will see tonight of our unified track team, because last year they were here because they won the state championships. This year they are here because they were chosen as one of the only teams, as not one of, the only team in to represent the state of New Jersey at the games in Toronto. So Mr. Fossil accompanied this group of students up to Canada, and he will share a little bit about the program and provide the students an opportunity to show off their hardware, which they have all been asked to wear, so you can see. But this is a major, major accomplishment for the students, and it's pretty impressive.
Thank you, Doc. You guys want to stand up there so everybody can see it? This is the unified track team, part of it. And they are partners and athletes. They start working in beginning of March, 6 days a week, about 2 hours a day. And they train exactly the same, in exactly the same program as the varsity team. They work side by side, and this is a wonderful program made possible thanks to the generosity of the Board of Education and the encouragement from everyone here, especially Dr. Smith, who even went to the polar bear plunge with us. So that was,
And did the polar bear
and
plunge.
did the polar bear plunge.
Explains
I got scammed. They said to go watch.
You're still
Yeah.
I said,
You should have stayed in the bulldog outfit.
that's
But we were chosen to go by Special Olympics New Jersey based on what Dr. Smith said as being the state champions last year. We also did pretty well in the Penn relays. And we were up there for about 3 days. There was actually 4 days. There was over 2,500 coaches and athletes from around the world that were competing. And they were pretty impressive. I was a little bit wondering how we would do, but these guys came together. We have a medal count of 18, I believe. We had 11 golds, 1 silver, and 6 bronze medals. And they all, as you can see, have some. Mia, I have to mention that she entered 4 events and got 4 golds. And then she was asked another team from somewhere in Canada with short 1 runner for a relay. So the powers that be made the exception, let her run with that team. They got a bronze. So that was pretty amazing. We enjoy it. It's a great opportunity to show everyone what these kids can do, and they're all much faster than I am, and the times and things that they are putting up there are absolutely amazing. These events that we compete in are primarily sprint distances. Pretty much everyone on the team is a distance runner, so they have to like re-gear to do this, and they all do very well. And their friends in school and out of school, they look out for each other. It was evident when we were staying over in the dorms at the University of Toronto how much they cared and helped each other, and it's a great thing to see, and I think it's going to help not only them but everyone else down the road as they see what fine athletes all these kids are.
Excellent.
Okay.
Delaney, were you going to say something or no? All right. So the question, Mr. Fossil, I think Delaney asked before we came in, what are you going to do to top this next year? So states,
That's
worlds.
yeah, that's yet to be written.
All right.
Are they all staying to next year, or are any of you graduating this year?
Yes, they'll all be back.
Wow,
All right.
what an accomplishment when you're not even a senior.
Yeah, stronger and faster.
Congratulations. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing your accomplishments with us.
And parents, thank you for bringing them out, but also thank you for your support for the program. The program's how old now, Mr. Fossil?
I think this is his third year.
Third year, but I know Paulette was instrumental in helping you develop that also. So
Yes.
thank you for all your work to do it, because it transcends, as you said, just athletics. It really creates a partnership, and I think it makes our school stronger. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Smith.
Cling, cling, cling.
That's awesome.
That is
A lot of blank.
the hard word.
Well, it's supposed to be like this all week. Maybe it'll get all rained out.
Hey, that's fine.
We'll get him.
He's done. He's in.
Yeah,
Because he, like,
very last one, 18.
and he rounded off a whole bunch of other kids.
Oh, contract award? Good.
Like, keep him looking up.
So we'll get Bear and, that's taken care of. Technically, it is. Yeah, I didn't get a note back from Mario.
Exactly what it is. You stop.
You.
Just the fact
You're
that he,
good.
like, saw it a little bit, that, like,
You.
settled any of his fears.
And they'll come out like, they look just like everything from kids who are wrestling.
It's just like her.
All the way down to second graders. Rolling around on the mats.
I know,
It's
exactly.
completely different.
No, it totally is, but he's like so earnest.
All right.
Thank you for coming out this evening. Didn't expect much of an audience. As we wind down the year, there are several of us on the board that have the honor of having seniors graduating this year. So my mind's just swirling. We just ran back from the senior awards. And every time I sit there and I watch what our students accomplish and our unified team, I just feel very grateful for those of you sitting around this table. This has been a particularly tough year of the 5 I've been here. And I just cannot thank all of you enough for really digging in, the hard work you've done, the decisions you've had to make, and of course the administrators who are amazing support and informational. And it's just it's been a tough year, but I can say that I'm grateful that I had you here. So thank you. That's all I need to say. And your part?
Okay. So I get to echo those comments, but I would first like to, public service announcement. Graduation is on the 20th. For those of you who don't know, board members, if you could arrive and be ready to get suited up or gowned up. If you could be in the room by between 5:15 and 5:30, that would be the best, because then we'll start on our procession. As Elise said, this was looking back, this was a particularly difficult year in the history of Hopewell Valley for some of the things we faced, but I would just like to thank you as a board for your support and as we faced a lot of those different challenges. Hopewell is a truly special place. I do think we try to do it all, and I think we accomplish that most of the time. Sometimes we stumble and fall, but with good people, with good vision, and the support of the board, I think we continue to move forward. So again, thank you for all that. And I think Thursday night, if all of us have good thoughts for a clear sky, we will get through it. Although every time I mention that, Tana kicks me under the table for jinxing it. But I think once we will have a smooth end to the school year and start gearing up for September.
Excellent. Okay, so moving on. Consent agenda. Does any, may I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda?
I have one item that I would like to.
I think we can do that once we second, right? You want to do the second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Adam. Go ahead. Carry on.
Item I7. I7?
You sunk my battleship. Capital reserve deposit.
It's health benefits, I think.
That's
That's
capital
capital
reserve
reserve
deposit.
Oh.
So we'll discuss that in finance facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to remove it from the consent and then we'll discuss it. Anything else? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Where are we? Minutes, agenda. We don't have to do anything there. It's on the consent. Okay, public comment. Gotta keep scrolling down. Members of the public are invited to address the board on any matter for a maximum of 3 minutes during this portion of the meeting. You're asked to state your name, address, and municipality. In response to your comments, the Board of Education may respond or direct the superintendent to do so. The board may also opt to take the matter up at a future meeting so that the matter is researched by the district administration. Public comment is now open. Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Any items of old business? Okay. Finance and facility. We have a few things, right?
Yeah, I actually have two things.
We have three
Um,
now.
You want to move them?
Yeah. One second. There's three?
Yeah.
Well, we took the one off of consent, so
Oh, okay,
capital reserve
gotcha.
deposit. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. So, I'd like a motion to move, you want me to move these separately, Bob?
You can move them all at the same time.
Yeah,
or separately?
why don't we move them all at the same time and then we can discuss. So I'd like a motion to move the capital reserve deposit, the acceptance of a donation, and the contract award, Troxel.
Second.
Okay, so why don't we just, I guess, open up capital reserve deposit? I mean, it's a discussion point. It's open for discussion. Yeah. Tap.
So yeah, so.
Just tap it.
Break that one too.
Okay. So yes, what this item does is it authorizes the movement of up to $2.5 million into a capital reserve account. So I have questions basically in two areas. The first area is, and this is mainly directed to Dr. Smith and Mr. Colavita. When we move funds into that account, basically it limits their application to capital projects, correct? That is the,
It allows you to put it into, for capital projects to be used as debt service relief.
okay. So the reason I asked the question is, when we had our budget meeting back in May, we were presenting rationale for the need to go ahead and use all of our bank cap and waivers. And part of the rationale given was the fact that if we didn't do that, then it threatened in the out years our ability to fund educational programs such as world language sections, APs, auto shop, wood shop. It also noted that we were concerned about our ability to fund co-curricular activities, freshman athletics, for example. So the question I have is, why a month after that, is this now the right time to move that amount of funds potentially into a capital reserve account where we can only use those funds for capital projects when we're concerned potentially about academic and co-curricular funding?
I don't think this is a transfer.
All this is a placeholder that allows us to transfer up to $2.5 million if we choose at the conclusion of our audit. But the resolution has to be done now.
Okay, so there would be a separate motion going to the board to authorize the transfer of those funds after this is authorized?
No, it would be a discussion in a committee that would be brought out to the board. There's not a resolution that's necessary. You don't need to do another resolution to do it, but it would be
Okay.
done through the audit process.
Okay, so I guess that's the question, is the plan to move that much of the funds into that account?
The plan is it gives us the authority to do that if that's what we so choose at the end of the summer.
Okay,
And the discussion would happen about how much
Correct.
in the finance facility.
And then would that come to the rest of the board? 'Cause I think that's what-
It doesn't necessarily
yeah.
have to be.
That's- 'cause that-
you know,
that's really the
before
concern.
it's
I-
done,
yeah.
would there be that sort of broader awareness, if you will, about that? I think that's what you're
Yeah,
asking.
because I think that's the concern. I mean, clearly I misunderstood the intent beyond what we were approving here, if that's the case. And, you know, from that standpoint, I think it's important for the other part of my question was, from that standpoint, I was concerned that it was put as a consent item just because I thought we were moving funds, or at least that was the intent. And my recollection going back many years is that whenever we specifically did that, we had it as a voice vote item so that it was discussed you know, in the past, Bob, I know there was at least one time where we had the discussion and we voice voted it.
Right, but
So,
yeah, well, it was one time we did it, but in years
Okay.
previous to that, it was
Okay.
always done in June, and it was done through the audit, and we always put the money in capital reserve
okay,
when we were not using excess surplus to balance. But you know, there'll be a discussion of the board as we did, you know, last year and the year before that, what we were going to do with the money.
okay.
Yeah, and Adam, you're right. 2 years ago, we
Yes.
we passed this resolution.
That's right, that's right.
And then when we got back the audited numbers, we made a different decision, not to put it in the capital reserves.
Okay.
But to roll it forward into next year's budget.
Got it.
That conversation can still happen. You know, this just gives us the authorization to do it, should we need to do it.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah. This is a statutory requirement. We have to do it in June, or you can't do it.
So do we have to voice vote that now? Just this one,
No.
We'll do all
You
of them,
You
right?
can do all three.
the three, okay.
Yeah.
So the next item was an acceptance of a donation. We had these 4 AEDs that, you know, obviously these things, defibrillators? I
So
guess?
we have a resident who I'm not sure what law it is. Is it Megan's law? Megan's law. No, Megan's law. There's an AED law that requires you to have AED machines within every so many feet in every school district and location. We have them throughout the district. We had a resident who is a vendor of ours who was revived and said his life was saved through the use of AEDs. So he became a sales rep for these and visited our schools and noticed that we had 4 AED machines that were coming off of their useful life, and we would have to replace them, and he donated the replacement of those 4 AEDs to the school district.
It's Janet's
Janet.
Yeah.
So we're accepting his generous donation to replace those AED machines tonight.
Very nice. That's really cool. Very generous. What's his name? His
Mark Peters is his name.
That's really nice.
So the next item, we talked about a lot of other things, but this next item came up a couple times. We talked about the program that surrounds the TV and studio equipment. Specifically, this equipment it's about 15 years old, so it's at its life expectancy for just general equipment. The reason why it's on the agenda is because of the bid threshold. It exceeded that, and so, we talked about last time we met, not this past time, but, sort of holding off on these specific things just because of the cost factor. The downside is that we have 70 kids that are currently enrolled in the program. So by not maintaining this equipment, we've got a couple options, and that is, to maybe abolish this program that seems to be growing year over year, and stick with the, with the upgrades that are necessary to keep this thing going, or just, eliminate it. I think, for the amount, and we were able to get Doug was able to get the number down substantially from 250,000 to 200,000. I think it's to me, it's something that we should consider approving, and that's why it's on the agenda tonight. Is because it is an item. It's $200,000 to maintain equipment. Really, it's purchasing new equipment that helps us at least stay where we're at technology-wise, and to continue building this program that kids seem to be attracted to. And it is like a lot of these other things. Communications is probably the #1 bachelor's of science or bachelor's of science degree, and this just helps kids bridge that, from high school to the colleges. So for $200,000, I think it's well worth it, and it's already been budgeted. So it's not something that, it's an item that we don't have to add to the budget that we've already put into the budget from 2 years ago. So last year wasn't the right time. This year is the only time.
But was it in the budget that we passed?
Yes.
It was already accounted for.
Yeah.
Great.
So this equipment, does it support like our videoing tonight? Does it
Yeah.
support our PAC and our musical theater program?
Every school that would be connected to a part of that TV studio would be a part of this upgrade. So it is bridging, the old, standard video to, more HD, lowering the cost of just operating the systems, and just, bridging new technologies. So it's a benefit to all the schools, including, just broadcasting into certain schools, especially the PAC, with certain events, et cetera.
Does it potentially support our security as well? Do we use any of that technology equipment? Okay.
I think really, to me, it seems a big benefit just because it's been a program that's been growing, and I'm not on the EdCom, so I don't really know that side of what's a benefit. I mean, this was proposed to us because of the Finance and Facilities Committee, so it's an upgrade. It's not their biggest upgrade. I mean, I think went from like $400,000 down to $199. Personally, I think they actually had to remove some items from this. Personally, I'd like to see them just do what they originally proposed to us, but then they, just taking these things off, like, how things would, the specific lighting throughout the TV, the studio equipment, and a couple other things. So, I mean, I guess the thing is whether or not we're going to approve it. And I'm voting to do this simply because it's a program that, is the kids are, we have year-over-year growth. So.
Any other comments or questions?
So, so why didn't we purchase it last year, Bob?
Last fiscal year or last?
Yeah, I mean, because it wasn't in this year's budget.
It was in this year's budget.
It was in this year's.
budget.
No, it wasn't in.
It was
wasn't
not in last year's.
Okay.
It was in the 18-19 budget. It just took a while this year, as we went through, Mr. Brower went through the process of locating the proper equipment. He visited a number of locations, and we were, ready to go last month, but the board had some questions, to be answered at this meeting.
Yeah, as we talked about finance and facilities last month, it's a difficult decision. It's $200,000 to support a program, and I get it. It's a growing program, and you want to support the kids that are in it. But other programs, you're making tough choices. If we're going to drop all classes with less than 15 students, now you're getting rid of AP English or AP something. And could you keep that and get rid of this? So I'm not sure where the balance comes. But I think these are the kinds of decisions we're going to continue to face. We're going to make decisions whether we're going to put $200,000 into communication cameras, communications gear, microphones, all of that, at maybe the expense of, AP Euro or, a small math class that only, half a dozen kids want to take in preparatory for college or in preparing for college. So, I mean, I just think it's a tough choice.
Well, I think we all, absolutely. I'm validating that there are tough choices, but there's 70 kids already enrolled, so there's things we have to look at. Some the classes that we were looking at Cutting had 4 kids, had
Yeah, but this is not 70 kids. This is 70 kids in the program. Could be 15 kids in a class.
I think we have to take a balanced approach, and absolutely this will be very difficult decisions. However, I believe that a program that currently has 70 students enrolled in it seems to have the momentum to be continuing, and
The money's been budgeted, and this program cannot run without updating the equipment. I mean, we would be so far behind the times if we need to update this equipment in order to run the program properly. So, yes, we need to do it.
Well, if we didn't have a, nationally recognized performing arts program, this might not be as compelling an argument, but they do support one of our primary programs, and that's.
Well, and I mean, we talk all the time, right, about continuing to think about a breadth of different types of tracks for kids, and not just the super academic and the AP, which we've had for years, and I think in years we've been building out some of these other tracks, and so we need to think about it, I think, from that perspective as well. So as we sort of weigh all of these things, and it seems to be that there is definitely an interest in it. This is a different type of track for a different type of kid, potentially. So I think you need to weigh that as well, from my perspective.
I mean, I would say everyone can weigh in. I mean, it's a decision that we need to make together. This has been a difficult budget cycle. I agree with all points, so I don't think there's a right or wrong decision other than, I don't want to impact the kids. And at some point, you have to impact the kids. But I think this is an area where I think it's growing, and you can see the trend.
Do you have an idea of how long this equipment will last? Like, is this
Probably another 15 years.
15?
I mean,
Is that
in the
sort
end,
of
I mean,
the
you're always going to.
projection?
There's
Yeah.
a software component. There's
Right.
a hardware component. The majority of this is hardware. It's physical, and this stuff is old. Even when we purchased it, it was already. We were at the end where we were purchasing stuff that wasn't the latest and greatest. I mean, that's just how it happens here, right? I mean, these guys really should be spending $250,000 to get to where they need to get right now, to make it last another 15 years. I think this is probably a 10-year. I mean, look at what, you know, the curve on technology these days. It's exponential.
But you're right, Pete, from that standpoint, you know, if you delay it too long, you become further and further behind, becomes more and more expensive.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's either not run a program or keep up with it. So.
Anyone else want to weigh in? All right. Shall we do a voice vote? All
Is a voice vote on all? Or is it we just doing?
You can do a voice vote. You can
do
split
you
it. if
guys want me to break it out?
Yeah, let's split it.
Fine.
Okay. Should we start with the capital reserve?
No, you just need a motion to split the votes.
Oh, okay. May I have a motion, please? to split?
So moved. Second.
Okay. You want me to do it, or should Pete be doing
Oh, yeah. So we'll do the vote on the donation.
it? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the donation of the AEDs?
Aye.
Oppose, abstained? Motion carries. All those in favor of the resolution for the capital reserve deposit? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstained? Motion carries. All those in favor of the contract award Troxel for the TV studio equipment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstained?
Yeah, nay.
Okay. Any other nays? Okay, motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, personnel.
Can I get a motion to move the personnel items?
So moved. Second.
All right. In the Personnel Committee meeting today, we discussed the recent health benefit meetings with the HVAA members based on the recent settlement. The members were educated on the various health benefit options available to them, and there was even a spreadsheet that was created that they could basically input their own personal information. It would calculate, based off the plans, what they could potentially save. And it sounds like, Tony, that the meetings had gone very, very well.
Yes, very well. I didn't create the spreadsheet, by the way. That was the HVA.
Mr. Belford.
We also discussed the settlement of the Hopewell Valley Directors Supervisors Association. The memorandum of agreement is on tonight's agenda. We also discussed the kickoff of the negotiations with the Support Professionals Association. That began on June 13th. We have 3 more meetings that have been scheduled throughout the summer to continue our discussions. And last but not least, we would also like to recognize Raquel Rivera, who is here this evening, as she is being recommended to the board as the next vice principal at Timberlane.
Okay, so we need a roll call, Mr. Colladino?
Correct. I'll mark it down just so.
Do you need to break this one out too?
No.
Okay.
Do a roll call. Mr. DiDonato.
Yes.
Ms. Linthorst.
Yes.
Ms. Long.
Yes.
Mr. Markulek.
Yes.
Ms. O'Reilly.
Yes.
Ms. Pollara.
Yes.
Mr. Sawicki is.
I am abstaining on the list of substitutes, and I approve the rest.
Got it. Ms. Tracy.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Absolutely.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Welcome.
You have to stay to the end of the meeting now.
No.
You can go now.
There's really interesting stuff.
Can she say a few words? That'd be great.
Absolutely.
I like to hear her speak anyway.
Do you have any medals like the Unified team?
Just my name tag with the key that opens every door except the ones in
It's the badge of honor.
Very proud. Thank you so much. I'm here with my family, my husband, my daughter, and my son. It's a family affair. I remember when I first started, they were here for my appointment as a middle school teacher at Timberlane Middle School. And it's interesting how the story continues because I'm returning to TMS. I just wanted to thank all of you. I'm humbled and blessed to have been a part of this community for about 23 years now. In which I have grown tremendously, both professionally and personally. I am so excited of this appointment. I feel like I'm homegrown. I wouldn't have imagined this at all, but it's been a great deal of work and dedication. I've had a lot of mentors. I have had the pleasure of working with a tremendous group of people throughout the entire district, and for that I am truly grateful. And I am hoping that in that end I will continue the work and to have a seat at the table and be an advocate for those who continue to feel that they do not have a voice at times. And as a bilingual student, ESL, former student, and a parents who came to this country with very little English and with very little. As a public servant, I can't think of any way to continue my story. So thank you so very much for this opportunity. One which I could have not done with my family. So one in college and one who's going to be a junior next year. So yes, challenges all the way around. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. We're very lucky to have you. Okay, Ed program. You're on.
I'm on. Everything's on the consent agenda, so there's nothing to move. But we just to fill everyone's in on our meeting today. It was a tremendous meeting. The administrators from Central High School came, Principal Smith and Vice Principal, to talk about the social and emotional learning that has been happening at the high school and that the plan moving forward. And I think it's very well thought out and extensive, and includes lots of therapy dogs, which seems to be effective. So we talked a lot about that. And then there was a discussion on the undersubscribed classes and how that has changed. And last year, there were 173 sections of 15 or under, and this year it looks like it'll be around 110. So there's been progress made on that front. And then Mr. Olmsted came in to talk about the math curriculum and moving at the elementary level and moving its current, with the Go Math curriculum, everyone has been encouraged and trained on math workshop, the math workshop model. However, more professional development will be happening, because really next year, this coming school year, that will be the expectation, that's how math is taught within, continue to be the expectation, I want to correct that, how math is taught within the elementary school. They'll be pushing in for ALM instead of pulling the kids out, so it'll be differentiated throughout, and it's pretty exciting. I think it's a big challenge for a lot of the teachers to change how they've traditionally done their math instruction, but because they're all familiar and very comfortable now with Reader's Workshop, there's a lot that's, applicable. So.
No.
So.
Thank you, Susan.
No problem.
Anything for community relations?
We met a couple weeks ago
community based on feedback that we got from the community about the budget. People felt that it wasn't communicated out as well as it could have been. And even though it's pointed out that there were meetings that they could have come to, it's on the website, we're learning that that's not a method people are using. So we want to create a method where people will be able to have easy access with whatever they're using, and it seems to be Facebook. So we are going to create someone in Rosetta's office, I think, is going to run the Facebook page that will have, sort of like, we're going to get rid of the Facebook page the district has now that allowed for comments. This will have no comments. You won't be allowed to comment. And it will have links for, like, when it's a budget, or they'll have little public service messages saying there's a budget meeting tonight. If you're interested in the budget, please come to the meeting. As well as everything that's been up there, the Facebook Live and other information. And that was about it.
And redirect people back to the
Yes,
website, because we felt like,
website.
yeah, people weren't really accessing the district website, which has all the information, so we'll be able to.
I think if you're a community member, not a parent, you wouldn't even know to go. So this is something that more people can find their way to the website and the information.
If I can ask one question then?
I might
You
not
know,
have to go.
what is our recommendation then for people who in the past would have commented on the existing Facebook
That there's
location?
no comment.
Like, is there an instruction as to feedback as to how to provide feedback? You know, there should be, we should
could
provide
put
that.
something on there saying,
I can put my office.
yeah, contact if you have questions or want to give feedback. Call Tom Smith. Superintendent Smith is happy to meet with you.
Mobile number.
Yeah, here's his cell phone number.
And it's on the TV, it's all good. But one thing to your point, Adam, the comments that are on there aren't from district residents. You know, it's from folks all over the country about different issues. So we're looking at a different mechanism on how we can have people provide feedback. We also discussed opening up a larger group of community members, kind of a key communicators group to discuss ideas. Discussing, actually, Tony and I are meeting with the company about an app, the Hopewell Valley Regional School District app, examining that. Because, and actually, when you start to see the results from the survey, the end of the year, we get a lot of feedback on how people, their preferred method of communication.
Right.
And one of the things we were also seeing, and I didn't ask this question, but Dennis helped us out, that it's like 70% of people access our website from a mobile device.
Right.
So it's not, you know, it was kind of built for desktop, and it looks nice to me, but I think we can either, with an app or something else, our information could be much more user-friendly for folks. So I think that's all part of it, too. And if you haven't completed your survey, you'll get a reminder tomorrow.
When is that due?
It's June 30th. It closes on June 30th, but you'll get an email, a reminder email tomorrow. End of your survey. We have like 1,300 responses.
Good. Pretty good.
And it's going out, the principals are giving students time in recitation and flex to do their portion. So we've got pretty good turnout so far.
And if someone says they didn't get the email, how can they access the survey?
They can access the survey either by Facebook, by Twitter, or off our district website. It was blasted out through
If you
all
go
of
to
those.
the website, the first
There's a
thing that
pop-up
pops
window.
up.
There's a pop-up window if you go to the website. I will gladly come to someone's house and, with my laptop and help them with it.
Careful what you
Okay.
offer.
It's a lot of
You're
service.
going to get a lot of people.
But all kidding aside, we really do, I think the board is aware, those of you who are new to the board, I print out all the results. We look through them, we discuss them, and the administrators see all the results, even the open-ended questions. We do redact personally identifiable stuff, but it is good information for us to have. And I don't know of any other district who does it.
Aim to please. Great. Thank you. Policy. Come on, it's not that bad.
If I could put in a plug for Adam Sawicki, who communicated with me several times on Father's Day, putting our policy, finalizing it. So thank you, Adam.
Well, that's why I was saying, oh boy, because yeah, it made. So I'll go ahead and open up by saying, to my fellow policy committee members and my fellow board members, I apologize for the relative lateness of getting our first reading items up there, but We were literally working on it as of yesterday evening. And even this morning, we made some final edits. So what we have up for first reading is policy and regulation 5530 on substance abuse. Okay, so the gestation of these revisions was really it was high school administration coming to us and telling us of some of their concerns about their coverage in the policy with regard to essentially vaping devices. So we had within policy discussions with them, and based upon that, we wound up amending our existing policy and regulation to provide better coverage for how we're going to handle situations when we have those, when we discover a student with those devices in school. So essentially what I can tell you is the procedure essentially is going to be very consistent with what we do when we find evidence of other drugs, alcohol, etc., in that there exist mechanisms by which we can go ahead and test the content of what's in the device, and based upon that we have a specific group of procedures that we'll follow up with. Again, very consistent with the way we handle when we have situations with other drugs in the school. Anything else, Tom?
No. I think it's, as you mentioned in discussions, the policy committee had the high school administration back for a second time to discuss these, and I really appreciate that, and I think the high school administration really appreciates that. I think that was Adam's suggestion to do that, so thank you, Adam, for suggesting that, for them to be involved in the conversation. And it's really taking a hard line against electronic nicotine delivery systems. And we're really trying to, vaping has become, a catchphrase, but it's an electronic cigarette, like, make no bones about it. And the nicotine contained in those is much more concentrated than you would think. So a pod contains over, a pack of cigarettes, the nicotine in a pack of cigarettes. And when, we know we have middle schoolers who are vaping and they're getting hooked, plain and simple. And it's not just a Hopewell issue, it's clearly across the country. But what we are trying to do is really take a hard stance about this and provide, I think it's important that smoking cessation or nicotine cessation is part of this. Students will be enrolled in an activity for that when they return. But Adam was very kind. The reason why the policy was delayed was because of me, but I do appreciate him giving up time for.
I mean, it's almost high intensity.
That's it didn't make the cut, Mr. DiNato.
So from that standpoint, to my fellow policy members, are we in agreement with moving forward?
Yeah.
Recommending it for first reading. Okay.
Motion?
Motion? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain? Motion carries.
Great. Okay, can I get a motion to move the policies and regulations up for second reading, please?
So moved.
Second? Great. Okay, so with these, we have policy and regulation 5538, which cover our random drug testing program for alcohol and other drug use. So you may recall this was put into place for this school year, and essentially, as we described in our last meeting, these changes cover things we learned. It's mainly making the procedures simpler, more straightforward, and reflecting what we do. For example, the original regulation was written around actually doing some initial screening within the school, but we wound up contracting with that service. So we revised the regulation to reflect that. Additionally, we had the administrators at Central High School come in and tell us from a procedural standpoint it became difficult in terms of having students who wanted to, say, for example, buy prom tickets, sign up for it right at the end of the year. So procedurally, we're going to change it so that we have the authorization for this go out at the beginning of the year to cover, any potential student needs to comply with the policy and regulation at the beginning of the year. So again, we're recommending this for second reading for adoption.
discussion? All those in favor?
No.
Oh, no, this, we need a roll call, right?
Yep.
I'm on
Ms.
first.
Long?
Yes.
Mr. Markulek?
Yes.
Ms. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Ms. Polara?
Yes.
Mr. Sawicki?
Yes.
Ms. Tracy?
Yes.
Mr. DiDonato?
Yes.
Ms. Linthorst?
Yes.
And Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Oops, where am I? Public comment, right? Okay. Members of the public are invited to address the board on any matter for maximum of 3 minutes during this portion of the meeting. You are asked to state your name, address, and municipality. In response to your comments, the Board of Education may respond or direct the superintendent to do so. The board may also opt to take the matter up at a future meeting so that the matter is researched by the district administration. Public comment is now open. No, seeing none, public comment is now closed. Okay, board calendars. May I have a motion, please, to...
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Anything left in June? Just of note, graduation. All right, and July.
It's up to you.
June is June 26th, a Wednesday. I have something at 7, but if we did 5 or 5:15, we can discuss it back if we have mine go to my guys during summer. You can do the 26th. I can. That's okay. We'll do the next week. Anything else to do? July 3rd.
No, I don't think so.
July
I'm away
4th,
on the
why not?
10th.
Policy on?
What do you all want to do? I was gonna, and actually what I was gonna ask was, I believe we said that this time we're gonna talk homework and grading based upon the feedback. That sounds like a long meeting to me. So I would say maybe an hour might be appropriate to plan for.
Policy.
Policy.
And policy, we're talking about changing policy.
Bob, when's the meeting?
The 15th.
Which one is personnel on the 15th at 7?
That whole week.
That whole week.
Can we
Which
make
week?
it 7?
Oh, I thought you said
Uh,
other Deb.
yeah.
I wasn't looking.
You can come.
I think, yeah, I mean, if that's okay. Then
Is that
you wanna-
enough
I'll
time
roll
for your time?
right in.
We have
6:45 might be.
I think it's actually a good thing if we do
July.
24th of July?
to digest
Yeah,
the
anytime.
results of the
Yes,
survey.
yeah.
Alright, so you do that? The 17th or 24th?
At this point, I can. 17th?
17th before negotiations? 5?
17?
5?
What were you thinking, Adam? Which date?
The 12th.
Yeah.
That work for you, Tom?
I'm sorry, July 12th,
Oh,
right?
that's right.
Can we do the 11th?
Is that Monday
You can do
morning?
as
work?
early as you want.
The 8th?
I know.
Give
I
Tom
don't
8th
know,
would
there's
work.
too much
Gives us a
time.
whole week.
I don't know what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
I thought we were doing community relations. Yeah, which one are we doing? Are we doing policy right now? Who's on first?
I know.
Yeah.
You can do it on the
Matter.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be long.
Yes.
So community relations on 17th.
So what time's good?
Policy,
We were
8 o'clock.
totally talking about
Monday.
the relationship.
They-
8 o'clock on the 8th?
Yeah, that works.
I don't know if ours is 7 or not.
Does that work? 8
I
o'clock
think
on the
so. Thank you. I have to check for sure, but I think so.
I haven't checked, it's in the mail.
I'm flying that day. I just don't know what time.
Home or out?
Hey, why not?
In or out?
Out.
Going someplace fun.
Jamaica.
College orientation.
Oh, already?
Too many, but.
When is it, Deb?
On the 8th.
Right, and then the 15th is the board meeting?
Yep.
So, finance and facilities?
Yeah.
So it's all set?
Can you do the 17th, Tom, for community relations?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Do you want to meet earlier?
I can do any time.
I can do any time after 1 o'clock.
What's best for you?
I can do anytime.
What's best for you?
I'm a little up in the air, so why don't we plan it and then I'll work
Why
around
don't
it.
we see, well, what would you ideally want?
I'll do anything. I'm just saying because I don't want you to stay if you don't have to stay. And so 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock's fine. And then you see, and if we have to change it, we'll change it. Just
Correct.
We're all flexible to change.
Or I could just call it.
We
Okay.
call it fine.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a work session.
What can combine in with?
Yeah. Yeah, so the 15th will be a work session. So we'll do a meeting, then we'll go right into a work session.
Usually there isn't much action
working
in
on?
July.
Yeah, July and August. We got
Yeah.
start the budget discussion.
Oh, good, good. We should make that public.
Goal
Yeah,
setting.
15th is a work session.
Goal set, and then August will be.
So aren't those
goal
usually
setting.
at 7?
I think, yeah.
Our work sessions are 7, right?
It's a regular meeting, but you'll have a
Oh, okay. So 7.
you'll roll right
Wait,
into it.
so it's 7 or 7:30?
7:30.
I was the work.
Just plan to stay
This
here.
is a regular.
Regular meeting.
Then a
Yeah,
work
work
session.
session. There you
So
go.
Because they
it's
have all the
2
committee
meetings in
meetings.
one
Two
day.
meetings
Yes.
in it.
So we have to go really fast through the first part of that. Yeah, there's not a lot of people.
There's not really much action. You won't have any presentations or kids coming. Well, that's what the fun part is, seeing the kids.
We love the kids.
I
We're
was at that
definitely
track
with the
banquet
kids.
when those kids
Oh.
they all spoke at the track.
Was it amazing?
It was amazing. It was great. Delaney actually spoke.
I don't know.
It was great.
Might have to
Come
call
out.
them for hours. I heard.
She had a prepared statement.
Let's vote
We're
on
good,
that.
Mr. Studo?
Yeah, we're good.
New business, board
Vote on it.
self-evaluation.
All those in favor?
Vote? Okay. I'm ready to move on.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. Motion carries. New business, board self-evaluation. Did everybody get through?
Yep.
Evaluation? I don't get the same
No. Oh,
I
notification.
didn't get the link.
it was in the same email.
It was in the CSA one.
Oh.
So
Can I get
It's
another
okay.
one?
Saying you didn't do
You
it.
got
I
some
did.
time.
I have not done it.
I haven't done it.
I've not done
I
it.
have not.
I have not either.
Okay.
I'm glad I'm not the
I
only
thought you were correcting my English.
No.
And I don't disagree with you.
I'm commiserating with you. Yes.
I know. Well, I don't get the notification like I did with the CSA, so I don't know who's done it.
Now you
When are they due? They were due.
Well,
June 1st.
yeah, let's,
May 1st.
yeah, let's shoot to maybe by the end of July 4th week. So a few weeks.
Sorry, I'm when I'm on vacation.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Well, we can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then we get home.
And just let me know if you have trouble accessing it.
You don't have any way to see like who completed, who didn't complete?
No, I don't know why.
It's weird. Just
On the
We need
CSA,
to
you
give
can-
them that feedback.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I'm just gonna call and be like,
I mean, yeah, it should be just like a little summary.
yeah, it was nice.
Just like
that
when the other one,
the
like.
CSA tells you.
Yeah, 'cause then you knew when everybody.
one or the other. Surveying or the self-evaluation.
Exactly. All right. Okay, next up, I'll need a motion, please, to exit our regular meeting to go into executive session
So
to
moved.
discuss the harassment, intimidation, bullying matters, a student matter, and the superintendent's evaluation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Motion carries. Thank you, public. Have a nice evening. If you don't get doused on out there.